Vegas Cubing Cup Winter 2024. At first, this seems like a normal competition, and it is. But there's a little something more. A $2,800 prize pool. They were giving cash prizes to the top 5. So I thought if I went and attended all 4 competitions, I could have a decent shot at just podiuming. Maybe 5th place. 5th place was already $250. So that's what I set my goal at. Top 5. What is the Vegas Cubing Cup? Over the course of 4 competitions, you can earn points, and you are ranked based on those points on a spreadsheet. The first place gets the $1,000 cash prize, the second place the $700, and so on. Here are all the ways you could earn points. First, if you compete in a Vegas Cubing competition, you earn 25 points just for attending. Participating in a special event, such as Magic or FTO, can earn you 10 points. If you're a first-time competitor, you get 10 points. Placing in the top 12 for the finals for each event you compete in. DNF result does not earn any points. Remember that. And then, breaking your PR gets you 3 points. The key to doing well in this kind of event is to be something called an all-rounder. An all-rounder is someone who's good at a lot of events. People like Stanley Chappell, Ryan Pilat, Tommy Cherry, Dan Tran. And the reason this gives you a better chance is because you don't know what the events are in the competitions until a few months before. So let's say if blindfolded was announced as an event. I don't know how to solve blindfolded, so I would have to sacrifice a lot of points just not knowing how to do that. Whereas someone like Dan Tran, who knows how to do blindfolded, can easily grab some points there. There were a lot of good all-rounders at this event. People like Lukas Kuj, Parker Traeger, Dan Tran. As for me, I was only good at a few events. 3x3, I was a bit decent at 2x2. 4x4 was a wild card, and I pretty much didn't practice anything else besides like one-handed. But let's look at the events for this competition. Okay, 2x2, 3x3, one-handed, that's all good. 7x7? Clock? Square 1? Who does those? So going into this first competition, I didn't really have a solid game plan for actually trying to get points. I just thought, oh well, I'll just break some PRs. Now since it was my first time competing in clock, that's obviously free PRs there. I also wanted to place top 12, which would also earn me points. As for 7x7, I did not practice at all. I didn't actually make the cutoff. I only got 1 solve-in. It was still PR though, but it cost me valuable points. Square 1, I didn't even make finals. I just got a PR single and that was about it. And then, the extra event. Remember, you get an extra 10 points for competing in the bonus event announced at each competition. Magic was the bonus event. Now, Magic isn't an official event anymore, but they still do it for fun. I didn't have a Magic, so I didn't compete. After the first competition, I was a bit behind. Now, if you go to the Google Sheets today, it's not gonna actually show the results from back in the winter competition, so we're just gonna take a look at the score under the winter column because it saves those. I had 105 points. And that was from breaking a lot of PRs. In clock, 7x7, square 1. It wasn't even from placing high in the events. I just won 2x2 and placed second in 3x3. And I placed second in one-handed because some all-rounder from New York came, and he got 153 points. Now luckily for me, and probably for the rest of us, Parker wasn't going to come back for the next 3 Vegas competitions. We've got Lucas, a guy from Canada with 127 points. We've got Preston Schwartz at 109, me at 105, and Dan at 103. That was the first competition's results. I didn't do too well and there was a lot of optimizations I could have made. However, at the time, I was going for breaking the state record average, which Jacob set with like 6.7 or something, and then I got 6.67. I was happy about that. And lastly, placing second to Kyle Santucci in this competition was pretty good for me, so I was happy with that. The game was on. I was in 5th place, which was my goal, but I wanted to do a bit better. Now, they announced the spring competition. Let's look at the events for that. 2x2, nice. 3x3, nice. 4x4, that's a bit sketchy. 6x6 I don't practice, blindfolded I don't even know how to do, and Megaminx is just dead. Okay, yeah. So I was the fastest person in 3x3 this time because there weren't any like world-class cubers there. So 3x3 was a win for me. But as for 2x2, Dan was getting a bit fast. He broke his PR and my state record. Dan Tran became the man. Not only did he break my state record and his PR, he got top placements in every event. 3x3, 2x2, 4x4, 6x6, blindfolded, and Megaminx. He won 4x4, 6x6, and blindfolded, putting him way ahead. And the points he got? 137. How much points did I get? 118. I was getting a bit closer, but there were still some fast people ahead of me. Lucas was still going for it, and so was Dan. I did do a few things better this time though. I didn't get good standings in Megaminx or 6x6. I didn't even place top 12, which cost me a lot of points. This time, however, I competed in Magic, and I placed second. And that helped a bit, but Dan Tran's dominance was starting to become real. How would I deal with this for the rest of the event? And there's only one answer. Practice. Like I already said, you don't know the events until a few months before the competition, which only gives you a little time to practice. If I wanted to bump into the top 3, which I started having plans of doing because I was so close, I had to start grinding events I normally wouldn't even touch. Things like 5x5, Pyraminx, and Scube, which, by the way, were the other events going into the summer competition. If I wanted a chance, I needed to practice these. Otherwise, I was basically out. So, I did the only logical thing. I started actually looking up videos and asking my friends who were decent at Pyraminx for help. I only had about 1 or 2 months to get decent, so shout out to Ashton and Quinton for helping me out in Pyraminx. As for 5x5, I went to the Rocky Mountain Championship, and I got a sub 1 minute average, so I didn't think I could beat that. As for Scube, I practiced it almost as much as Pyraminx leading up to the competition, but it was a wild card. I only used a hybrid of beginners and intermediate method. I could average anywhere from 4 seconds to 8 seconds, and everywhere in between. The competition arrives, and let's just say my 5x5 was dead. I ended up asking Dan to bring again 5x5 so I could use it, and since I wasn't used to it, I actually did poorly in both rounds of 5x5, even after I got a GAN 5x5 of my own at the in-venue store. Now as for Dan, he didn't main the GAN, but he ended up breaking his PR single in finals with the GAN. I actually helped Dan Tran get more points. But there's still Pyraminx and Scube, and 2x2 and 3x3. For Pyraminx, let's look at my past PRs. This is the stuff I have to break if I wanted a chance. A 5.38 average and a 3.09 single. What were the times I got? Take a look. I had nailed it. Pyraminx was here to stay. And I was second in the state at the time, right behind my friend. Like I said, Scube was a wild card, the scrambles were horrendous, and I did not break my PR at all in Scube. I did come close in finals, however, and I beat Dan Tran somehow. Thing is, Dan got his PR in Scube, too. So, it was gonna be really close. The most surprising event, though, was 3x3. The first 2 rounds were unexpectedly ludicrous. It's an extra 6 points for breaking both my PR single and PR average. Since Max Park was there, I didn't win 3x3, but my score after the summer competition, with my improvements and my placements in all the events, along with some people like Lucas for not coming back, got me to second place, with 347 points. First place was 348 points, Dan Tran. I was suddenly in real contention for the grand prize. Everyone else was distant. Everything would come down to the last competition. When I first registered for this high-stakes tournament, never in the world would I have imagined myself to even have a real shot at winning. To me, winning didn't matter that much. I would have been content with top 5, considering 5th is already $250. But over the course of the 4 competitions, I went from goofing around in square one in the winter competition to actually learning L for E for the 3rd one. I waited for the events to be announced. 2x2, nice. 3x3, cool. One-handed, that's my niche. 4x4, bit sketchy again. Dan's gonna blow me out of the water in that one. And Megaminx? Look at my past Megaminx results. I am ashamed to say this was me. 1 minute 30. That placed me a bit low on the psych sheet. Not good enough, probably even for finals. Well, you know what that means. Grab a GAN Megaminx, binge tutorials on S2L, learn for look last layer, binge Felix's MDEGs, do slow solves, and get 40 seconds faster in just a little over a month. Okay, this is going to be a bit challenging. I kid you not. I grinded Megaminx basically every day before the competition. I learned the algorithms. To make things worse, there was also FTO as the bonus event. Since bonus events give you extra points, I also had that to worry about. So I also binged Ben Streeter for FTO. All the while I was grinding Megaminx, I kept on lowering my times. I went from a 1 minute 30 average to a sub 50 PB average in all that short time I had before the competition. I already had a guaranteed 6 points from just breaking my PRs in Mega. However, I neglected FTO. I procrastinated actually learning the last step until literally 3 days before the competition. I also learned full ZBLL, and 2x2 LEG, and TCLL. That's how much I was dedicated to actually trying to win. I was learning entire algorithm sets in just a month before the competition. And you know what's funny? I screwed up those algorithms in the actual attempts.
He's pausing again. He's going for that ZB start. He's just trying to recognize ZBs here. He's ZB farming, if you may say. 884. He stood there, did a couple of U moves on the top layer, just looking to see if he can do a new algorithm and practice it in competition. I think he's full sending on just using this as a developmental average and not going for anything too crazy and just trying to learn and just be like, practice that recognition in competition.
But enough goofing around. It was time to get serious. Competition day arrives, and Megaminx is the first event of the day. 1 round, 5 solves. That's all you'll get. While I was nervous during the solves, I was also pretty happy with the result. For the first time in the whole tournament, I had the lead. There was still the rest of the day to go.
Really fast last layer. Those all good for you? Let's see, pausing again. He's going.
There's a literal 1 point difference between me and Dan Tran. It was now the second half of the day, all the final rounds. The first one was 4x4. Now, funny story, my Steven 4x4 felt really bad because it popped and got dirty too much before I developed the neuron connection to tighten the cube. Then I tried my friend's brand new Aosu V7 4x4 and it is actually impeccable. So before finals, I borrowed Dominic Shoji's Aosu V7. I cooked. I didn't film since I was nervous, but here's how it went. Solve 1, sub 30, good. Solve 2 was a crazy scramble, but a horrible execution, so not good. Third solve, pretty good. Fourth solve, I got my PR from a 1-look last layer. And on the fifth solve, I got my worst possible average, 30.5. I was one decent solve away from sub 30 and PR. Then I placed 4th. which was okay, I guess, but now there's no margin for error. One-handed is next, and I barely beat Dan. 2x2 is next. Dan beats me. I'm only ahead by 4 points going into FTO. And in the plot twist of the century, this seemingly petty event, at least to me, could decide the entire competition. The question was Dan Tran better at FTO, or was I?
Let's go, Vincent. 3.
It turns out, even after my mistakes, I placed 6 points above my rival. FTO virtually sealed it. This event that we barely practice, I somehow out-practiced Dan Tran in it. Now theoretically, Dan could beat me in 3x3, break both his single and average PRs, and possibly tie or even beat me, but I had a firm resolution going into 3x3 finals. I had already won. And what happened next is nothing short of extraordinary. One of the most exciting, if not the most exciting, 5 solves transpired in my cubing career.
This is what you need right now. What a way to get to the last layer there. 5 is going to reserve into focus. Here we go. 6. A 7. 624.
Jeremy going in on the song.
Oh, he locks up there. I don't think this is it. No, it's a +2 too.
And it's
That's it.
2.
It's
Max
over.
Park.
Jeremy, Max Park hangs on. That's crazy.
Max Park is your 3x3 champion for the Vegas Cubing Cup Fall 2024. Jeremy Vollenbot, the pressure too much for Jeremy as Max Park squeaks away.
At the time, I didn't know I was close to beating the world champion. I was simply trying to get sub 6. Nevertheless, retrospectively, that is actually crazy how close I got to beating Max, one of my biggest cubing inspirations. I'll get you next time, Max. And now, here we are, 4 competitions later. I don't exaggerate when I say this is the most fun I've ever had competing in cubing. And I don't say that just because I won. Genuinely, I had a lot of fun. Even if I didn't win, or even place top 5, I still enjoyed practicing new events, pushing myself beyond my comfort zone, and ultimately meeting a lot of people and making a lot of friends. The algorithms I learned, the events I never practiced that I did practice just for this competition, paid off. Instead of just sticking to 2x2 or 3x3 as my main events, I expanded my arsenal of events that I'm decent at from just a few to just a few more. From being the underdog in the first 2 competitions, to making a big comeback in the 3rd competition, to finally winning it all in the very last moment. Vegas Cubing Cup is indeed the most insane tournament I've ever won. I don't in any way deserve this, but I still got it. Congratulations to everyone who placed top 5, especially Dan Tran. There's a lot of people that I want to thank, and I can't list them all here, but there is one person that I do have to give all the thanks to. That is why I end this video by saying,
To God be the glory. Alright, congrats, Jeremy.
Okay,